Look, I ain't the latest generation. I'm probably not the most accurate judge on what is aura and what is not. Because back in my day, aura would just be the words cool or like something in which is impressive. But now it's all jotted down to characters showing off what they can do and doing something in which is adding to their credibility. But today, we have every single Blue Lock character, or at least relevant Blue Lock character, some irrelevant ones of which I've already put in no aura and negative aura. I'm going to review every Blue Lock character based on if they have aura, and if they don't have aura, or maybe they're somewhere in between. If you do enjoy this video and would like to see more, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. All support is greatly appreciated and will help the growth of this channel. And just so you guys know, next week I will be releasing part 5 of Isagi Manshine. Stay tuned for that. And of course, I know a lot of people ask about Raven What If. That series happens once I hit 7,500 subscribers. And by the time I'm making this video, we're awfully close to that number. So I could expect in the following week, we will make that video after part 5 of Isagi Manshine. Anyway, let's get onto the list and what tiers we have. You can clearly see what tiers we have, but I will explain them. So we have negative aura. These are people who show literally no aura at all. So this includes a character who got subbed off for Kunigami at the beginning of the NEL, I'm pretty sure, and one of the goalkeepers. Then we have the no aura characters. These are basically characters who haven't really done much, so therefore, what are we doing? What are we doing with them? Then we have some aura at a push. These are the characters who don't have aura above like 50%, but they have some impactful moments. Then we have beating the allegations. These are the people who has more aura than not, basically. Nearing Sung Jing Woo, basically characters who have shown an immense amount of aura during the entire series, and then aura farming daily, which should be self-explanatory. They're the most aura-filled characters within the series. I'm going to be saying aura a lot in this video, so be prepared. First up, we have Kunigami. I believe this instance of Kunigami is much more aura-filled in comparison to the pre-wildcard version. The pre-wildcard Kunigami was all about being a superhero and being a hero to the kids and whatever. Lame, you gotta have more depth than that. And I believe he does still have that same ideology, but it's masked behind this vigilante-like appearance. And I would give him some aura at a push. The reason why I don't give him beating the allegations is because of his entire character history. This is the entire history of the character, because not every instance of the character's existence is aura-filled. So we got to acknowledge that Kunigami, throughout his entire career, has had some negative aura moments, but he's been pretty raw, in all fairness. Like, the way that he scores goals, and not to mention, like, he's on the hunt for goals. But he's fallen off as of recently as well, because he hasn't had as much performance to show. He got subbed off at the final game, but of course got subbed back on, but proceeded to do not much to really add to the game. In regards to Chigiri, man's best friend, I believe that Chigiri is nearing Sung Jing Woo levels. Let's be honest. Him getting a ACL tear. In being honest, if you were to have an injury that puts you out the sport, that is the most valid injury to have. And I don't think that takes anything away from him. Chigiri is I would believe, it's very forgivable, the fact that Chigiri was taken out because of that injury. And from there, he's only made strides to improve. He's had moments where he has to favour his leg and also take care of it and whatever, but Chigiri doesn't let anything get to him. In terms of his looks, in terms of his daily routine, in terms of his leg care, he doesn't care what other people think. That's great. And not to mention, he has an incredible playstyle, incredible formula for scoring goals now, and he's frankly unstoppable in terms of like individual characters within the series. There's no other character aside from Loki that we know is faster than him, which is extremely impressive. So we're going to put him there, and then following that is Raichi. Raichi is a workhorse. He is an absolute workhorse. And I do believe, like, beginning of the series, kind of cringe. He's he's kind of like that Bakugo vibe, where he hates on everyone and only favors himself and only wants the best for himself. And then he has that comeback moment. I would say resurgence, if you will. During the end of the first selection, when facing against Team V, he saves the game for Team Z. He saves the game. He's actually much more of a forgivable character, because you got to realize, like, always intending on favoring himself, he just wants to be involved. And that's fine, because he's doing well to be involved. He may not be like one of the starting people within the current formation, but I can forgive that. Raichi has more aura than Kunigami at the moment, because Kunigami's trying too hard. Raichi doesn't have to try that hard. Gagamaru, nearing Sung Jin-woo. Bro stands there and is ready. He's ready for it. He's caught a Burū strike. He saved Rin shot by mere levels of instinct. Like, completely deserving of nearing Sung Jin-woo level. He doesn't aura farm daily. He does have his moments. He's not, like, the most communicative. And, of course, he's a little bit naive. But other than those times where he has to take orders, he stands there like an absolute G. He's one of the best goalkeepers we've had in the series, so that is definitely credible for something. Igaguri's had some aura farm moments recently. And I wouldn't say he has no aura, I'd say he has some aura at push. Maybe people will find it insulting that Kunigami and Igaguri are in the same tier, but you gotta realize, like, Igaguri, when he first subbed onto the pitch for the PXG match, that was some aura. I don't acknowledge him any time before that, because I feel like he was really just a gag character. And then, of course, interacting with Nagi after the Blue Lock lock-offs, that was aura-filled. He went to Nagi on his own volition, like tracking him down to talk with him. And I'm not sure if Igaguri will ever make a reappearance within the main series playing in a match or whatever. I mean, he left off on a good note. I believe that is deserving of some aura at a push. Naruhaya, bro has negative aura. He let his family down. Kuon, negative aura. I hate the character. I hate the betrayal arc, and I think I like the character before and after the whole betrayal arc. But realistically, you're not getting any points for betraying your team. What was his name again? I'm giving him negative aura because the only thing he did was like a slide tackle in which led to a ball interception. Like getting the ball off the opponent. Getting the ball is like chasing a girl of your dreams, is way too far out of reach. Like, get out of here with that stuff. Ilmon, however, some aura at a push. I do believe he has aura, but he was freaking the fuck out when he got to the second selection, and they were telling him, oh, you're going to be goalkeeper again. And he straight up fainted. Of course he got eliminated, but in the first selection, he was clutch. He saved a shot from Team W, he saved a shot from Reo from Team V. He's credible as a goalkeeper. I believe he deserves this. He deserves that at least. Kira, brother's got no aura. I don't think negative aura. Like, he had his freak out moment, but, like, if anything, I don't think anything of substance came off this character. I just didn't believe in this source. I didn't believe in this source. And whether or not he's going to make a comeback or not, and whether or not he's going to be cool or not, is entirely up to Kaneshiro. We'll see what happens, but I don't see much happening for him. Right now, he's got no aura to me. Burū, however. Burū, I'm tempted to one of these two. I feel like Baru's always been, like, that aura farming kind of character. He's refusing to be diminished, you know? Refusing to be put aside, cast to the sidelines, whatever the case. And I believe I'm going to put him on top of nearing Sung Jin-woo levels because he's had his moments where it's very questionable, but to challenge Snuffy directly, that's insane, because Snuffy to me is like the best master. Of course, Chris Prince being following right behind him, or maybe nearing like tied levels, but challenging Snuffy directly is definitely insane. And I think this new streak highlight hairstyle is actually fitting to him, but I prefer him with his hair down. I feel like his hairstyle when his hair is down is much more enticing. That's probably just me. I know some people actually like it. Nico. Nico's got a lot of recency bias. People are loving Nico now because he's actually getting involved with the current match because he's in the current formation. So therefore, people like what he's doing. People like the fact that IQ and Nico and Ryu and the other defenders basically planned for Onazi to make a strike for Nico to intercept. Of course, like, you can't predict all of the factors in which go into that strike, but they got it pretty spot on with how Nico was able to position himself just in time to block that shot. He's actually been doing some work, so I'm going to give him some credit here and put him in beating the allegations right now. He started off as a little bit of a bitch, but now he's making his way up. He doesn't cry as much. He's obtained Metavision. Metavision's automatic points, let's be honest. This is the first Metavision user that we've ranked, so he deserves some points here. Does he go above Raichi? Probably currently, but I could see it switching in and out depending on Raichi's usefulness. Okawa, Negative aura, bro. Negative aura. He was hyped up and folded. He lost to Nico, who was like intentionally going to be a midfielder for him. And then we have the Wano Bros. I believe this guy has no aura, and then this guy has negative aura. This guy not speaking is like aura filled, and then having his brother communicate for him gives this guy negative aura. Oh, people may be mad. People may be mad at what I may say about Nagi. Nagi has a lot of aura. Like, first selection, insurmountable amounts of aura. He was the top player. Second selection, kind of within that realm. I believe he was definitely still amongst the top 6, which is why the third selection had him as the top 6 player. But, of course, with his loss, his crying, and once again, now his shortcut to get back into BLUELOCK, shortcut by going to Borusuta. I don't know. I already talked about this in my last video. I don't feel his comeback, right? I want him to do something different. And this is just the same route, but with another BLUELOCK project. And with the episode Nagi manga ending, we can't really see from his perspective, unless they were to cover like a few chapters of his perspective. I'm gonna say right now, he's not beating the allegations. He's some aura at a push. Because right now, people are arguing that Nagi was locked off because of this, that. I know there's a lot of Nagi fans, but he's currently not beating my allegations. And I love the character. He is my second favorite character, so I can't say that this is bias at all. I don't dislike Nagi. But right now, he was in a McDonald's situation, so I'm going to rank him for that. But when he makes his comeback and does something different, does something new, does something innovative, maybe I'll rank him higher. Zantetsu. For how dumb this guy is, he makes a case for himself. Of course, his backstory is pretty neat. I might say some aura to push. Like, dumb characters usually don't get much appreciation, but I believe he deserves some. Even if he's dumb, he does some cool stuff. And maybe not as much cool stuff as of recently, but we have seen him do some cool stuff. Rin Itoshi. Now, apparently there's like 2 versions of Rin on this list. Can I find the other one? This one. I'm pretty sure we're going to rank these as like Destroyer Rin and then Normal Rin or something. I don't know. Because there's also 2 versions of Isagi here. So we're going to do Normal Rin. This is Rin if he wasn't in his complete flow state. Like, oh, he's Destroyer. No, he's not Destroyer. This one's just basic Rin. I like Rin, but of course he was so infatuated with rivaling his brother. Losing to an Isagi in which is not as impressive as the Isagi we have now, especially that was in the U20 match, to be specific. And in his eyes, he lost to Isagi in the second selection because he was the only person that could predict a play that he could predict. But I say this Rin is still beating the allegations nonetheless. He was said to be BLUELOCK's best character. He proved it on multiple occasions. He was just so infatuated with wanting to beat his brother. And yeah, that was his only focus. That's all he had to him. I mean, Destroyer Rin is a different level. We'll talk about him later. Ayu has restricted Onazi's passing routes and movements. That's pretty much all he's done. But it's like his training was specifically that to favor the martial arts kind of stuff where he has to restrict his opponents. And I rate that. I rate that highly. And he's always kind of aura farming, but in a different way. It's a glamorous way. I'd say he's beating the allegations. I will argue for Ayu. Tokimitsu, negative aura. He was shown to be a powerhouse, but with anxiety. And the anxiety weighs him down, and then he got eliminated and pretty much shown none of his skills. He was getting it was not out-muscled. He was just getting pushed back by other BLUELOCK players on Bastard Munich. It's no wonder why he got eliminated. He made no improvements. He made no strides for improvement. Going from 3rd to being eliminated. I know Nagi is like the same thing, but Nagi at least has some validity, being more impressive than Tokimitsu currently. Tokimitsu is just a guy who used to be so much more credible, and now he's gone. Luna. I believe we haven't seen enough from Luna in order for me to properly rank him, but I'm going to say beating the allegations. This is going to be for a lot of characters we haven't seen much of. Because the same with the other World 5 members, aside from Loki, these guys are beating allegations purely because of how good they are, for what philosophies they stand by, and the fact that they haven't been humbled, because they haven't had the opportunity to be humbled in the series, because no BLUELOCK character at the time was as good as them. Simply put, Shida. Gotta put him there. I don't think, like, Shido's aura farming daily. Shido says some wild shit, but it's cool in presentation. Everything that he does is really cool in presentation. His music in the anime, very cool in presentation. He has one of the best, like, scored goals animated in Season 2. And also, like, continues to have, like, a very cool style of play. Rushing into the goal box, scoring off of an instantaneous pass with any sort of direct shot motive. He's cool. I don't think I could discredit him. Karasu has recently been doing some work. And Karasu with Metavision moves quite differently. So I'm going to say like bottom of nearing Sun Jingwoo. We're gonna adjust this list with the more characters we do. But Karasu as of recently in the current U20 match, restriction and like right now I think Karasu as of recently with the feats that he's shown is like equaling Onazi, who is supposed to be the ace of Nigeria's U20. We may have that turnaround with Onazi in the next chapter. If you guys haven't read chapter 316, you'll know what happened. But yeah, by the way, spoilers. I'm going to talk about chapter 316. It's going to happen. Big fan of what he's doing recently. And I think him with Metavision works perfectly. Toya, I'm gonna put him at some aura at a push. I'm not saying like... The thing is, I don't really mind his character, but I don't think he's anything special, right? He's got insane off-the-ball movements, like the best of the series. How does that become useful with players who are much more, of course, broad to the field of vision? Reo was the only other person on Manchurian City with Metavision, and Otoya easily passed them by. I don't know. Just overall, I don't think Otoya is that cool, but hey, he scored goals. He's got more goals than Karasu in the NEL, so he should be credible for that. Next up is Yukimiya. I'm gonna be totally honest with you guys. Yukimiya to me feels like a no aura character. Like he started off decent, right? The one-on-one Emperor. He dribbled past Rin. One of the only characters individually who got past Rin, like in a one-on-one situation in the middle of the field. Big props to him. But in the NEL, he's shown such a big amount of... He's been subsided a lot. He's been disregarded. But then just being a straight-up complainer during the entire Manshine match, and then being pretty much a nothing character for the next 2 matches, which basically got him no bid increase. Like, I don't know, a couple mil, but like... It went from like a solid 60% aura when he first debuted to now like 10 or something. I don't know. I don't think he's credible enough for me to put him in a aura-filled situation. He's too much of a inconsistent character and too much of a complainer for anything more. Hiyori though, I think Hiyori's beating the allegations. Yeah, Hiyori's cool now in representation. He always has been cool. Of course, the Ubers game had like a mixed bag, but like generally speaking, I believe Hiyori's definitely beating the allegations nowadays. I'm going to put him higher than these players because, well, once again, we haven't seen these players a lot. Nanase got no aura, my dude. No aura at all. He's got no aura. Not negative aura. Like, safe to say, he's a very, like, basic character. He's a very basic character. He's got nothing of substance to him. Ambidexterity, cool. A lot of characters have ambidexterity in the series. We've got Shido, Nagi, Kunagami. We got Noah, Isagi. There's a lot of characters with ambidexterity. I don't think he has anything of substance, but I don't think he's taking away anything from his character, you know? Like, he let himself be a pawn in Rin's game, right? He let himself be his servant, which is fine. He did what he needed to do to survive, but he didn't really embarrass himself during their training. He embarrassed himself at the start, but he did what he needed to do in order to survive, and he survived. Good on him. Kyora to me has a lot of aura. I don't know. Something about like his philosophy and then just his like moxie. His moxie in terms of like, oh wow, I'm going to do what I want whenever I want and favor the underdog whenever I feel, or favor whoever I perceive as the underdog. And I think that philosophy alone built him up. He hasn't done much. I know a lot of people are just going to start going in the comments saying, oh, Kyora hasn't scored, etc., etc. Like, whatever. He got a badass assist to help with the Kaiser Magnus. That's points already, and then his philosophy is even cooler. I want to see more of Kyora break dancing on the pitch, guys. Break dancing on the pitch. I know Nagi's like done some of that, but like Kiora is the master. And if Ryo ends up copying Kiora, oh, we're in for a treat. We're in for a treat. Corona, I'm going to give him some aura to push. I believe his chemical reaction with Isagi was impressive. He's been gassed out twice now because of Isagi using Metavision, and he's just not able to keep up. And that happens. That happens, of course. But he can barely last now, and I want him to have something more. He used to be the 4th best player in the 2nd selection. I want him to be more presentable as a forward, instead of just a supporting role. And I believe Kiora and Kurona have the potential. Now, for a lot of these characters, I'm going to put Himizu at Samura at a push because we saw more from him. Amory's messy. I'm putting Samura at a push simply because of how many people hyped up this character. I know he got eliminated and pretty much shown nothing, but so many people are on the back of Aomori's Messi's going to make it. He was getting aura from the audience who've never seen him do anything at all. I don't know. That's something. But for the rest of these characters, I'm like, no aura. Hiragi, I'm going to put him in no aura. He had no payoff, really. He's a cool character in concept, but losing the only match we've ever seen him play, going back to the bottom of the barrel, losing his partner Nico at some point because they're not even on the same team by the end of the 2nd selection. Gotta put these guys in no aura, and I may actually do something. I'm going to move this guy down to negative aura for picking his nose in that one BLUELOCK additional time period in season 2. You picked your nose, bro. I'm not down for that. I'm not down for that. Saya Itoshi has so many fans. So many fans. I recognize it more and more every day. And people are on the track to believing him. He's got some extreme grudge against Bunny, but I don't think that's ever like dwindled down his like amount of aura because we've not seen what Bunny has actually done to him. We just know that Sai has beef with Bunny. That is it. So I'm going to put him at nearing Sung Jin-woo levels. He's been hyped up. I'm going to put him like there. He's been hyped up. People are excited to see him. People are desperate to see him. We want to see him play again. And we're going to see it. Because BLUELOCK are definitely making out the qualifiers and eventually playing Spain. And Sai is playing Spain for his own selfish needs. Or selfish wants, or whatever. Basically using BLUELOCK as an opportunity to beat Bunny. Former captain and also current captain of the U20 team, Oliver Aiku. And I also believe like Aiku's definitely beating the allegations, let's be honest. He could be nearing Sung Jin-woo levels. By the way, Sung Jin-woo, for people who don't know, he's a character from Solo Leveling. He's pretty much like known for aura farming, and this may be like a over-exaggeration. Maybe like these guys don't near Sung Jin-woo levels of aura farming. Like, I don't know, I wanted something fun to put in the 2nd tier. Aiku, you could probably go up or down, but we'll come back to you. Aiku, you have a significant amount of aura, so we'll return to you. Sendo, Samura at a push. I believe at first I really did not care for his character, but getting that, like, feasting off the scraps of Baru's goal, pretty exciting, pretty decent. And he looks clean in a suit. And he still gets to represent former generation to the new generation, but he's still, like, amongst the top talents within BLUELOCK, of course making it to top 23, so he deserves some credibility for that. Anyway, Neo was cool. I wanted him to actually succeed over some characters like Fukaku. So it's unfortunate that I'll put him at no aura because a lot of these former U20 characters end up going here because they just show nothing in their time. Fukaku, he's the 2nd best goalkeeper we have in the series, even though he hasn't done... Actually, no, here's the thing. I think Hilmon's better, so I'm putting him in no aura. A lot of goalkeepers just don't have that source. And Fukaku's one of those characters who doesn't have that source. Come on. We need a good goalkeeper in the U20 games. If we don't get a decent goalkeeper who saves BLUELOCK shots, what's the point? Gargamaru's literally so peak in comparison, and it just seems like busted at that point. I'm putting him nearing Sung Jin-woo levels. This is a very stubborn list. Ryo, I actually started out not liking Ryo, but over time I've kind of warmed up to him, reading the manga and stuff. And of course, like, he's had a lot of instances where it's just like, really? We're watching this guy cry about everything, we're watching him whine about everything, bitch about everything. But Ryo deserves some credibility, especially for the recent chapter. Spoilers, by the way, If we saw chapter 315, we know that he started copying Bachara. He started copying Bachara's dribbling. That's insane. And then, using that, he got into a position where he was 44 degrees out from the goal, or well, a 44-degree turn from out of the goal to score a goal. And he copied Chigiri. He copied Chigiri's Panther Snipe. Insane. And he scored a goal. The first 2 goal scorers in the entirety of this U20 match saga was Reo and Bachara. And speaking of Bachara, he's definitely going there as well. Like, Bachara, as of recently, I believe he's, like, insane. I'm going to put him, like, here. I know Sai is hyped up, but we've actually seen Bachara do stuff. Like, Bachara started off as, like, my favorite Isagi, but, of course, in his one, like, moment of clarity where he had to evolve in order to keep up. Of course, he had like a slight breakdown, but he got on that track. He got back on the track very quickly. And I believe these 3 are very big contenders for aura farming daily. I mean, this version of Rin definitely deserves to be like either top or below Burū. We're going to put him top for now. I believe Predator's Eye version of Rin and also Destroyer version of Rin, both of them combined. Insane pairing. We'll see what he can do nearing end of the U20 games for the qualifiers, because we've yet to see him do anything like particularly special, because his shot was blocked by a Nazi. Not really anything too notable, but we know what this man is like. He solos teams, and he's genuinely scary. He's genuinely scary to a lot of opponents. So we'll see what happens. Isagi. This version of Isagi I'm going to count as like every instance of Isagi before the PXG game, right? Because I said this was like old Rin, so I'm going to say like one of the moments where Isagi has so much negative aura was like when he met Nagi for the first time, and Nagi was so nonchalant, didn't care about the sport, and Isagi went up to him in like the cafeteria they met in after Nagi's team rejected Kuon's offer and said, "Hey, don't underestimate soccer, bruh." I always think of that moment when I think of like this past instance of Isagi, and my god, that was so cringe. And even now he's kind of like, don't give up on soccer, Nagi, but that's a bit different context. Isagi has definitely had his bad moments, but he's definitely beating the allegations. And in regards to how far, I'm going to put him here. Of course, he's got to be above Nico. This version, at least. We'll get to the other version of Isagi later, the Demon King Isagi, as we will. Noah. People hate this guy now because the betrayal and stuff. But honestly, he is going down a route in which I find quite hilarious. He doesn't give a shit about anything other than his own development. This is his own ego. He wants to evolve himself. You only had interest in developing Isagi because it developed Kaiser, so it could help develop him, so he can have a rival. Kaiser may not be the most suitable rival, but like in terms of learning, Noah can learn a lot from Kaiser. Noah is beating the allegations. I wouldn't say beating the allegations in terms of being a shitty master, but like he's definitely beating the allegations in terms of like being a little bit of an aura farmer, you know? Being a little bit of an aura farmer. People just dislike him, and which is probably why they'll put him below anywhere here. Kaiser. Man, he's beating allegations, but he's had so much negative aura moments. He's been surpassed by Isagi like an insurmountable amount of times. Like, not fully. Like, I still don't think Isagi is a better individual player than Kaiser. That's just not in my line of sight. Kaiser, like, has amazing goals, amazing goal celebrations. The celebrations are very important, like how you celebrate a goal. Very important in the context of scoring. Having Predator's Eye and Metavision, always insane. Always an insane combo. I'm pretty sure he's the only character in the series that has both. I could be wrong, but I hope I'm not wrong. But I'm pretty sure he's the only character in the series who has both. I don't know, he whines, and he's one of those whiners, right? Better, because he's had more instances of being cool than not being cool. Then we have Ness, his boy. Well, I say his boy, but that's probably subjective now. I didn't like Ness for the longest time. I only appreciate him now because of the situationship he's in. I feel like I have more sympathy for him. Like, it's more understandable why he's the way he is, and he's so codependent and etc. I'm gonna put him at bottom of some aura at a push because he's had 2 instances. Like, I'm going to make the magic for you no matter what for Kaiser after the whole matches and after the players were leaving the pitch. And of course his original pass, in which ended up going to Isagi. Of course he didn't want it to, but it happened. So what can we do there? Grim and you, both of you, forgot what this guy was called. Both of these guys are negative aura. They got subbed off, and Grim specifically, I don't know, something off-putting about him and his very dramatic scene. He doesn't have anxiety, he's just like extremely dramatic, majors and drama kind of shit. Lavinia, dude, I think he's sort of a clown, but in that good way. He backchats Noah and just claims that he's the best in the world, even though he's just definitely isn't. He is some aura farming daily, I'm gonna be honest. Lavinia is that kind of guy, bro. He doesn't train, he doesn't want to. He knows he's the best. He styles on people so frequently. Like, he may have lost a one-on-one to Noah, but, like, come on. He's aura farming daily. That goal celebration is peak, by the way, like in the NEL. I'm going to give him some credibility. And this guy, Chris Prince, I'm going to put him in beating the allegations because I know a lot of people love Chris Prince and considered to be the best master. Yeah, he's had some moments where he's just not been him, you know? Like, favoring Nagi, even though Agi doesn't want to favor him because he doesn't learn his lesson. Then, of course, we have the instance of where he got completely blocked by Isagi in his goal attempt, then raging about Isagi because he got disrespected by him. It's funny how Isagi has so many enemies of players who are so much better than him. We have Loki, Noah, Chris Prince, I don't know, soon to be other players, like of course, Kaiser's individually better. God damn, what's with him? He's rage baiting all these people. Agi. You guys know how much I love Agi. Let's talk about him. Agi, I made a whole video about him. And so many people started realizing how valuable Agi was. And I'm very happy that I could be able to convince people that he's so much better than people think. I claimed in that video that he's probably nearing New Gen 11 levels. Like, I didn't directly say he was better than anyone in the New Gen 11, but I did say, like, he was nearing that level. But I also do believe England has a separate New Gen 11 player. If Agi ends up being a New Gen 11 player, sick, my points have been proven, but if not, I still stand by what I said. And Agi is a really good character, really good philosophy, which is very interesting. It's very interesting. He single-handedly favored Nagi throughout the entire NEL arc, whether it was willingly or unwillingly, and I already said he had multiple instances where he could have scored a goal and just didn't because he needed to favor Nagi's growth. But unfortunately, of course, he didn't really show anything. He didn't get any assists as far as we're aware. He didn't get any goals as far as we're aware. It's all speculatory, not confirmed, so which is why I'm going to put him at like some aura at a push. And I'm going to put him above Nagi specifically because he knew what was right. Actually, no. I think I appreciate him more than Chris Prince. I'm going to put him beating in the allegations. A lot of people agree with that because, well, as of recently, Agi has been shown a lot more appreciation, which I really enjoy and really appreciate as the biggest Agi fan in the world. Loki. Man, dude, he's raw. He's raw, right? He's raw. Extremely fast, extremely... I don't know where else I was going with that. But Isagi was able to fucking get something out of him. Get something out of him so quickly after, like, being subbed off. And it was the only time he ever played. He didn't even score a goal. He's beating the allegations, but he's not him. He's not him. He's definitely the most immature master because he's the youngest, and not to mention, if Isagi can make you rage, you're in for a treat. You're in for a treat of the future. Here's the thing with Snuffy. We can definitely devalue him for the fact that he was, like, football is a job. And he was, like, using this as a hoax to mourn his dead friend. But, like, come on. He has so much aura for the fact that Noah admits that he is among the best individual players in the world overall, both in defense, midfielding, and attacking. His strategies are unmatched. He has the best physicality and black belts in martial arts. He has so many accolades. And Noah admits, I have no way to fucking beat him. I have no way to do it. So in that instance, Snuffy is so much better. And Snuffy to me is raw, man. He's raw. I believe, like, if I was to ever see him in a match against BLUELOCK at some point, that is going to be the most strugglesome match BLUELOCK is ever going to play. Because trying to get around Snuffy is so difficult. Now, I forgot what this guy's name was, but he gets some aura push simply because people thought he was a New Gen 11 player for France. And I think that's hilarious. Like, people were hyping him up like, this guy has a unique design. Bro's going to be like one of the main players, but then it was revealed to be Charles. But like for the small instance and small time frame where he got appreciated, he deserves some level of aura. He got some level of aura out of it. Don Lorenzo, I think people are like acknowledging that Lorenzo probably didn't go all out in the NEL. I don't know how much I believe that. I do believe he's going to have an evolution if Blue Lock do face Italy, but he's beating the allegations. He's beating the allegations. How much? No, I got to put him above Nico, right? I got to put him above Nico. He's cooler than Nico. Yeah, he's just a cool guy. I don't think anything discourages him. I think the only negative aura moment I can think of is when he barked for Snuffy like a dog. Nah, he's sick. He's cool. And a lot of people love him as of recently. Thank God for that. He's actually a deserving character of love because he's never done anything like negatively influenced. I don't think anyone can hate on him unless they just want to disregard his appearance. Like, people want to insult his appearance. Dude, with the background situation that he has, I'm surprised. With the background situation that he had, I'm surprised he doesn't look worse. Anyway, Charles. I didn't like him because he was just like immature kid who couldn't pass the Shido. Wah, wah, wah. I mean, he was always viewed as the worst version of Saitoshi, so it's also because he's a kid, so I don't think he gets it. I'm gonna put him below Kurona. No, actually no. Kurona gassed out too much. Here. I feel like that's fair. I feel like I'm gonna move Igaguri down. Igaguri being above Ness to me is still hilarious. Alright. This version of Isagi, Demon King, when he's in the flow of the match, when he has this Omnivision ability active, we call it Omnivision because there's no like true name for it, or you could just call it True Flow State. Either one. He replicated Kaiser's movements to the point where he tricked Ness. His celebration, his like whole after shots were sick. He's aura farming daily. This version of Isagi is on a different level to the original one. This is like the Isagi we saw when Nagi got eliminated. This was the Isagi we saw when he faced up against Burū in the 3v3, where he had to devour him. This was the Isagi we saw when he entered in flow state for the first time. This was the Isagi we saw when he scored the U20 last goal. This was the Isagi we saw when in the entirety of the PXG game where he was just completely dominating. Well, I'd say that was for the first goal and the last goal where he was just like, he was on a different level. He was a machine for the goal. Sick character. For this guy, oh god. Bunny's hard to judge considering the fact that he clearly has like instances where I believe it's like, a little bit uncomfortable, suicidal tendencies. But I believe he's going to be among those characters who are just like above Sai, because he just doesn't give a shit whether or not he's going to actually be angry when he sees Sai or hold a grudge. Or if he's going to be nonchalant, he definitely has more aura than Sai, because it's kind of like the it's the shouting lion versus the monkey, right? It's the we'll see what happens. And finally, we have the Nigeria team players. I don't remember all of these character names, unfortunately. I know Onati and Kuso. I forgot these two names. I'm so sorry. I'm really bad with remembering names. You just gotta give me a little bit. But we're gonna do it like this, because I feel like Onati's deserving to be ranked last from his recent performances. This guy, I like his vibe, but right now he's not really showing much. So I'm gonna put him bottom of there. This guy, he's tall, got long limbs, but he's showing nothing. He has done nothing, I'm pretty sure. So he has no aura. Kuso, I was hoping Kuso was going to be one of those characters who was going to be like really impactful, like secondary ace level, right? But the issue is he's not. He's lost so many opportunities. He's misinterpreted so many opportunities, and I don't think he's that. I don't think he's that. I don't think he's him. So we're gonna put him above his teammate somewhere at a push because his look is nice, but like he's had some helpful moments, but overall, Unazi. As of right now, I'm not going to put him at beating the allegations because he hasn't done anything in this match. He hasn't done anything. He saved Rin's shot, which admittedly, like, vital save. So Blue Lock didn't get the first point. They only got the first point later on. But Onazi has just been chatting. He's only been talking. He's constant pace, constant fury. And he hasn't done anything else aside from just running all over the pitch and just waiting for an opportunity to strike. And he keeps saying, I am here. Oh, you're here. Isagi read him bar for bar and then completely outplayed him. It's to where like the rest of the Nigerian team is really concerned, aside from him. Right now, he's not beating the allegations until he gets a goal. And I understand people are just going to chop this up to me being like, you don't appreciate Anasi as a character. I do. I just haven't seen much from him. And he doesn't deserve credibility until he does something of significance for his team. He has to score, and scoring is very important in a game that relies on scoring to win. Anyway, let's adjust this list. So I'm going to move Rin, Burū, and Chiguria to Aura Farming Daily. We're going to move Lavinia down to the bottom, but I believe these characters definitely deserve to be on top of here. And Bachelor can probably go up as well. I'm going to put him up because of his recent goal. I believe all of these characters are like high Aura Farming. And we'll move Lavinia down for the sake of like, he's had some immature moments, but there we go. We'll put IQ there, and that will be our list. Old versions of Isagi and Rin, not as good as these versions of Isagi and Rin. If you disagree, I don't care, because these two are really the ones that matter. But yeah, anyway, that's my list, and we're going to zoom out. That is the complete list of where I rank characters in terms of aura. Of course, if you did enjoy this video, once again, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. All support, once again, greatly appreciated. And if you disagree with any of my opinions, fine. Once again, all my opinion. Every one of these tier lists are my opinion. You should just learn at this point. And if you disagree with the fact that I put Haragi down here, or maybe like, oh, why did I put Bunny up here? He hasn't been around. Whatever. You do you. Make your own list. And join my Discord if you want to post your own list of this. I will be happy to see it myself and judge it. And if you don't want me to judge it, too bad. Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining me for this video. Next week is part 5 of Isagi going to Manshine. And until next time, peace.